Hello, everybody. How are you? I believe all of you are safe and healthy with your families. The planet is not safe and the planet is not healthy, and that is pretty sad. So, today we are going to go through the third and final installment of understanding the chapter The Ailing Planet, chapter number 5 from class 11th, main textbook Hornbill. And it is time to wake up. Yes, this planet cannot sustain this system and we need to change it. We need to understand that the way we are working on this planet is not the right way. We don't have a planet B, we don't have a backup plan. We only have this earth, we only have this home, and we have to keep it safe. We have to keep it healthy. So, the only method is afforestation, tree plantation, and behaving in a rather responsible, sustainable manner. Well, coming to the text. Fertility falls as income rise, education spreads, and health improves. Thus, development is the best contraceptive. But development itself may not be possible if the present increase in numbers continues. So, in the previous session, in the end, the author talked about overpopulation, the rising population of human society on the planet, and because of that, the entire planet is suffering. So, it's in the continuation that the numbers are increasing, and the only method to handle the situation is handling the rising population. The rich get richer, the poor beget children, which condemns them to remain poor. More children does not mean more workers, merely more people without work. It is not suggested that human beings be treated like cattle and compulsorily sterilized, but there is no alternative to voluntary family planning without introducing an element of coercion. Coercion is force. The choice is really between control of population and perpetuation of poverty. So, the aspect presented by the author here regarding overpopulation is related to economy too, because like India is heavily populated country, but it doesn't mean that we are developing, because the more number of people doesn't mean the economy is flourishing. The more number of people means unemployment would increase, the poor would remain poor for decades to come. So, the class inequalities and the imbalance in the social system are crucial factors, but we cannot overlook the lack of education too. So, we need to understand that to make people aware about the demerits of rising population is through education, and with education, definitely development would come. So, even to improve the situation not only environmentally but also economically, we need to halt, pause, and slow down the process of overpopulation. That is what the author was trying to say. The population of India is estimated to be 920 million today. That was years and years ago in 1994, more than the entire populations of Africa and South America put together. No one familiar with the conditions in India would doubt that the hope of the people would die in their hungry hutments unless population control is given topmost priority. And today we are looking at the country. The people are poor, unemployed, the economy is suffering, the people are suffering. And what is the major reason? It is undoubtedly the rising population. Well, moving forward with another aspect, for the first time in human history, we see a transcending concern, the survival not just of the people but of the planet. So, the good thing is now coming back to the green movement and its role and how it has improved the ideas and notions in the head of human beings, is that we have understood that we are not here only to survive for ourselves, but the planet needs to survive too. So we have started behaving in a rather sustainable manner, and that's a good thing. we have begun to take a holistic view of the very basis of our existence. The environmental problem does not necessarily signal our demise, it is our passport for the future. So the situation is rather grim, we know that, and that might be a positive thing because we know the situation is grim and we should do something about it. The emerging New World Vision has ushered in the era of responsibility. It is a holistic view, an ecological view, seeing the world as an integrated whole rather than a dissociated collection of parts. So over the years we have understood that how the world is responsible for our development and we are responsible for the development of the world. So thankfully we have understood, and this is one graph showing that the decadal growth of population, so the world population, rising population is one of the biggest factors of many problems around us, most importantly environmental and economic. And yes, this is the picture that I wanted to show you, that we have understood that we have to take care of the planet. We have to take care of the planet as well as the other species living on the planet, because we have done enough harm, more than enough harm, to the planet and other species. So it's time to understand holistically that the planet is one and we should be doing the right thing now. And this is what is the era of responsibility. Industry has a most crucial role to play in this new era of responsibility. What a transformation would be effected if more businessmen shared the view of the chairman of DuPont, Mr. Edgar S. Woolard, who 5 years ago declared himself to be the company's chief environmental officer. He said, "Our continued existence as a leading manufacturer requires that we excel in environmental performance." So, over the years, the uh, businessmen too have realized that after all, they are one of the biggest reasons, one of the biggest shareholders in emitting poisonous gases in the air and bringing down the condition of the planet. And that is why they have realized that they must share the responsibility. And this is how we see something that is visible on the left hand side of your screen, that these are like the vertical gardens. So with development, nature is also growing and people put greens in their homes. So the times have changed. We love greenery around us and we have plants that can be kept outside, the plants that can be kept inside. And this shows that yes, we have understood the situation and we are behaving in a rather likable manner. Well, the last paragraph of the chapter: of all the statements made by Margaret Thatcher during the years of her prime ministership, none has passed so decisively into the current coin of English usage as her fallacious words. "No generation has a freehold on this earth. All we have is a life tenancy with a full repairing lease." So this is very important, by Margaret Thatcher, termed as Iron Lady, and she was the first female Prime Minister of England. She said that no generation has a freehold on this earth. All we have is a life tenancy with a full repairing lease. So we have to understand that we are living on this planet not as the land owners or the landlords, but we are living here as tenants. So if we start behaving like a tenant, what happens when you are a tenant in somebody else's home? You behave in a responsible manner. You do not break things. You keep the home, the area clean. You keep it safe also. You do not damage it. So if we start living on the planet like a tenant, then the situation will definitely improve. We will behave in a rather better manner. And this tenancy also is with a full repairing lease. I mean, if you are living in somebody else's home and if there is a scratch on the wall because of you, then you are the one who has to make the amendments. You have to mend it, repair it. Nobody else will do that. In the same manner, if we are cutting down the forests, then we are the ones who need to cover it up also, cover up the losses. So, this is what was said by Margaret Thatcher, and it's so correct, relevant. And coming to the last sentence, in the words of Mr. Lester Brown, we have not inherited this earth from our forefathers. We have borrowed it from our children. And this is the right approach. We have not inherited this planet to use it in whichever way we want. We have borrowed it from our children and we have to give it back. When you borrow something from someone, you give it back, safe and sound. So we have to give this planet to the successors, our future generations, and we should hand them over a safe, sound, and healthy planet. So let us not use this planet, abuse this planet as per our wishes. Let us keep it safe the way we keep something borrowed in a safe manner. And that should be the best takeaway from this entire chapter. So, Margaret Thatcher, as I said, she was the Iron Lady, the first female British Prime Minister, and such a wonderful thing she said properly in such clear words that we should have a full repairing lease. We have made the entire planet suffer. We should cover up the losses. And I will close this chapter, this session, with this quote that we are living on this planet as if we had another one to go. And that is a very wrong thing to assume, presume, believe. No, there is no plan B. There is no planet other than this earth where we can survive. We have to live on it. And when I say we, it's not the contemporaries with whom we are living, but those who are going to be here after 80 years, 100 years, 150 years. They too have to survive, live on this planet. So we have to leave a safe, healthy, not an ailing planet to them. So, lastly, a friendly reminder to everybody, this is the only home we have. So let us keep it healthy, our home. Let us be healthy and let us keep the home healthy. With this thought, with this quote, with a positive note, let's close the chapter and let's march towards the future with a better approach, better understanding, and a better way of living. I would say a sustainable way of living. Thanks a lot.